George Sam Buck was sent to Korea in March of 1953. The young man from Lineville had transferred from the Air Force to the Army so he could attend Officer Candidate School, or OCS.
In fact, the OCS class ahead of me all went to Germany, and I was hoping that I could go to Germany rather than Korea, but I didn't.
In March of 1953, the newly minted second lieutenant arrived in Korea and was sent 60 miles northeast of Seoul to Outpost Harry in the Iron Triangle, a site of heavy fighting throughout the war. On June 10th, Buck was sent to observe enemy troops. As night fell, he made his way back to the command bunker to speak with Captain Martin Markley, his commanding officer, and Lieutenant George Richards, the executive officer.
And all of a sudden, the shells just came all over us, The exec officer, he said, they're in the trenches. And that's about the last words he said.
Chinese forces stormed up the hill and trapped the soldiers in the command bunker. Markley and Richards began firing over Buck's head. Buck got on the radio to call for artillery support. At one point, he called in fire directly on their position.
That took a little something that I had never thought of, as just plain suicide.
Before the battle began, Markley, Richards, and Buck had set grenades outside the bunker door. The plan had been to throw the grenades onto attacking troops. The plan backfired. Attacking Chinese soldiers used the grenades against the trapped men.
And they would throw in a grenade, and then they'd try to run in behind it. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I would step around and catch them as they started in, and then they'd throw a grenade, and I'd duck back.
As the Chinese soldiers came through the door, Buck shot each one with his .30 caliber carbine.
It had a lever on it that you could push it forward, and it would fire automatically. And if it wasn't forward, it would fire semi-automatic. So I got, pretty scared, and I pushed that lever forward. I wished I'd never done that, because I went through 130 some rounds, and I was out of ammunition. And that was a problem.
The Chinese troops kept throwing grenades at Buck until his luck ran out.
The grenade that got me, it got my right leg and right arm, and where else, just my whole right side, I got hit by fragments.
His right hand was badly injured, and he was unable to fire his carbine. Captain Markley was seriously wounded, and Richards was dead. Buck was now alone in the fight. Enemy soldiers began passing by the bunker and looking in the door.
So I knew I was in trouble then, and I took this bloody hand and wiped over my face, and I played dead. And when they came in, well, they looked at me, and it felt like their flashlight was burning me, that light of it was. And I thought, oh God, I hope they don't know I'm alive.
Friendly forces arrived and took back the bunker. A medic came in, treated Buck's wounds, and the pair began to work on saving Captain Markley's life. The medic rolled the severely injured officer over onto Buck's lap.
And his one eye was laying on his cheek, and the socket was full of dirt and stuff. And the medic started working on his head. I didn't have nothing to do. So I saw that eyeball, so I cleaned the socket out, and I shoved that eyeball back in place, and believe it or not, he had it when he died.
The medic left to treat other wounded soldiers. In desperation, Buck left the bunker twice more to find someone to help him take Markley down the hill.
And I was crawling over dead bodies, Chinese and American, young kids, staring straight at the sky. And they shouldn't have ever been there. They just looked like high school kids.
It took a year for his wounds to heal. Markley also went home for an extended convalescence and recovery. Buck received little or no recognition for his actions during the one critical night of heavy fighting. Captain Markley petitioned for a higher honor. 5 decades after the bloody battle ended, Buck was awarded the Silver Star for conspicuous gallantry in action.